Hey there, beautiful souls. Welcome to the Sacred Soul Shift series. I'm your host, Vanessa, your trusted soul navigator and energy alchemist. In this series, we'll embark on soul stirring adventures through the realms of intuition and self healing with women across all modalities, where ancient wisdom and modern insights intertwine. So, if you're tired of the scripted routine and ready for healing and growth, my kindred spirit, this series is crafted just for you. It's time for your Sacred Soul Shift. We are here today with Andrea. She is here to share her personal journey with us. I'm so excited to dive into this one, guys. I love bringing you kind of transformational stories from guests that, talk about stuff that I don't blab on about all the time. So it's really important for me to kind of open up the perspective, get all different viewpoints, teach you guys something new that I don't go on about all the time. Stuff that, I love to learn as well. I love to open myself up to more of the universe, more of healing, more of everything. So I love to bring these guests in and have them share their wisdom and their personal journeys with us. So let me introduce you to Andrea. Andrea is a registered nurse. She's a holistic health practitioner, international best-selling author. Oh, I have to ask her about her book, Life and Mindset Coach. She is a personal healing journey to bring wisdom and hope to her patients. So, guys, she has been through this, and she loves to help people through their own journeys. She understands that each person is unique, much like the root cause of the obstacles they encounter. I love that. After successfully navigating her own healing journey, Andrea inspires others to reclaim their power, advocate for what is in their best interest, yes, and learn the tools needed to be able to make decisions for themselves that are in alignment with their beliefs. All the words that I love to use. Let's bring her in. Hi, Andrea. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
So I touch wood, knocking on my desk here. I haven't had the experience of going through any kind of, I was a tomboy as a kid, I'm going to admit that. And I did get into lots of little, lots of bad situations. I've had broken bones and that sort of thing. I've had surgeries, but nothing to the extent that, it was transformational or that it just kind of knocked me off my life path or anything like that. So I'm really interested to hear kind of your story from a personal perspective. And then obviously you're a nurse, so you've been through people going through kind of difficult medical diagnoses, and you've helped them kind of move forward from what it can be, traumatic experience, and kind of, people hit like a roadblock, I guess. They come up a brick wall. It's unexpected. It's difficult, it's heartbreaking. So I'd love to hear kind of your story as we go on this morning, as well as, your perspective from helping others through their personal journeys, coming up against medical diagnoses. So thank you for being here today. Thank you for, opening up to share your personal journey with us. It's always, I always thank people for sharing their personal journeys, because no matter how many times, you say it, it's still a personal journey. And even though we're in the healing space and we help others in their kind of their own paths and all that sort of stuff, being open and honest and, having the ability to share your own story is still kind of confronting sometimes. And, we still kind of have this, oh, it's my story, like people can judge me or whatever. So thank you so much for opening up with us this morning and helping us learn about this kind of from a different perspective, from your own perspective, and from the perspective of being a nurse and helping others as well.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for acknowledging that. And it's something that I love to do. I love to share my journey because it's something that I wish I had on my own personal healing journey, navigating medical challenges, loss, and abuse. I felt very isolated and alone. And so if my story can connect with one person and help them feel less alone in the world, help inspire them to view things differently and to reignite that hope that they have inside, then it's absolutely worth it. And I'm just grateful to be here and to share. So I'll start off with just giving you a little intro into my life and what led me to this type of care that I provide. I grew up in a very abusive home as a child and didn't really understand that all of that emotional and physical abuse was just being stored in my body as energy. And because I never let it out, I had a lot of chronic symptoms, headaches, stomach aches, my muscles hurt. And then when I was 18, I found out that I had a really big tumor on my ovary, which was surprising. And the doctors went in and they removed it. And at that point, they told me I probably wouldn't be able to have children on my own. And I was heartbroken because I've always wanted to be a mom. And I just thought, okay, I'm going to do everything I can to help my body be as strong as possible because I want to become a mother. And so I really changed my diet and focused on healthy choices at home, still not really understanding that my mind played a large role in my body and my overall health. So I got married. I went on to try to have children, and that belief that the doctors had given me stayed there, where I thought, oh man, I'm not going to be able to have kids. They told me I wouldn't be able to. It's going to be hard. And that's exactly what it ended up being. It ended up being very hard. I needed to go through fertility treatments. I had IVF, multiple miscarriages, multiple surgeries, and then I got pregnant with twins. And I thought, okay, this is amazing. It actually worked. I was over the moon excited. And then I ended up having preterm labor. I ended up in the hospital for 2 months. I delivered my twins early and they died 5 days after I had them. And so when that happened, my entire world imploded. I hit rock bottom. I was very depressed. I was so angry at my body because I thought it had failed me. It didn't know how to get pregnant on its own. It hadn't kept my baby safe. And I just had a lot of self-hate for myself because I couldn't do what so many people do naturally in the world. And so I wallowed in my pity for quite a while. And then I decided that that wasn't really serving me. And if I wanted to be a mom, I needed to stand up and find a way to be a mom. And so I looked for doctors that were willing to work with me and who were willing to have hope alongside me as I found ways to support my body and to support my uterus in carrying a baby. And that's exactly what happened. I was able to bring 2 more children into the world through IVF again. They were both high-risk pregnancies, but both proved to me that I was capable of creating life. And I was just so grateful for my body. And then I continued to work on my overall health and wellness. And I ended up getting pregnant naturally with twins again. And so I got pregnant with twins. It was a really big surprise. But all of those emotions that I'd buried for so long crept right back up to the surface. And they forced me to really confront them. I needed to navigate the grief of losing my first twins and also the joy of having new twins that I hadn't fought as hard to create. And so it was a really big balance. But they ended up being born early, and they spent 106 long days in the hospital.
Wow.
And so it was quite a journey that just I had the opportunity to go on. And then as life continued, our youngest son had a lot of medical challenges that he was facing. And I ended up in the hospital again with him. And doctors at that point told us that he had an incurable disorder and that there was nothing they could do to help him, that these patients just get admitted to the hospital and they fade away. And in that moment, I almost collapsed just in sadness and disbelief that this could possibly be happening again. And then it was like a switch flipped on in my head. And I said, no, that's not going to happen to him. That's not his story. I don't accept that. And I came home and I found a way to support him and his body. And it all started with our heads, with believing that it was possible for him to live. And we stopped talking about the disability and everything that wasn't working in his body. And we started building up everything that was working every single day. And now that little boy is almost 6 years old. And he is thriving in every area of life.
I love that. And I love that you're hitting on the mindset as being the biggest thing, because I always talk about using intention. And it's just literally a thought, right? It starts with that one thought, that intention to change and to shift the energy around the situation. And it's so powerful. And once you have that first intention that you want something to change, or you want to kind of move the balance from the negative to the positive, or you want to help something come into your life. That one little thought is just like the little flicker of the flame before the fire starts, right? It's all that you need to kind of kick things into motion. And I was thinking about, kind of when you were coming on to this chat this morning, that the medical diagnosis scenario can either go two ways, right? It can either kick you down, and just that's when that I love that you talked about the trauma that kicks in earlier on in your story there. Like, it literally becomes like the root cause of other things happening, like spiraling out in your life. Like, it creates like that, not just what was happening right now, but the stuck trauma in your body leads to so many other physical and mental issues. And it can either go that way, or you can kind of use that diagnosis to literally shift your life, which is what you've done further on in your story, and shift it into a positive and say, right, this is what I'm dealing with. How can I make it, like, how can I shift this perspective into something that's really shitty, and make it like something that's really going to change my life for the better? I love that.
Yes, thank you.
And oh my God, your story is crazy, by the way. And I love that your little boy is healthy now.
Yeah.
I love that. And I've watched, other people, I don't have kids myself, but I've watched other people go through similar situations. And it really is hard. And it's so mentally draining as well as being physically draining.
Yes, absolutely. And that was such a big thing. It's mentally draining for the caregivers, but also for all of the family members. And I think that's something that's so easy to look past. And that's such a big area that has my heart, is acknowledging the siblings of sick kids. Because when someone's sick, the parent's focus is on them, because that's where it needs to be at that time. And so it's very easy to overlook daily accomplishments or different needs of other children in the house when you're hyper focused and exhausted and pulled in a million different directions. And so I just really like to remind people to really see their other kids, if they have other kids or other family members, and really do their best to support them, also to let them know that they're seen, because we don't want them to manifest an illness because their mind thinks, oh, if I'm sick, then mommy coddles me on the couch, or then mommy sits with me. You want them to know that they're seen exactly how they are, and that being healthy and happy gets just as much love as a sibling that's not doing well.
Yes, and I love that you used the word seen just then, because I was just about to say it also leads to, the childhood trauma of not being seen and not being heard, and just feeling like you're not good enough, or, there's something wrong with you because you're not getting the attention that, you need to thrive as a child. But not only children, we're talking about adults as well, right? Like, you can get trauma at any age, and it's about, taking the focus off, what's wrong, as you said before, and focusing on what's right, and the positives in the life. And that does involve everyone in the situation, not just the person that's going through the medical problem.
Yes, absolutely.
Love that. So let's shift now, and you are obviously a nurse, so you've seen it from your own perspective, with your own journey with your children, and you've seen, I'm guessing, a million other things happen in your line of work, and how people deal with it and all this sort of thing. So could you walk us through, when you kind of get the diagnosis, like the first kind of shifts that you would typically see, and how people should be kind of walking into situations like that? I know kind of being hit with a difficult diagnosis would kind of come out of the blue normally, unless you were suspecting something for a long time. But how should you approach that sort of situation, and what's kind of the best way for you to move forward, rather than getting stuck and, dwelling in the negativity and the like the victim mindset, I guess?
Yes, that's such a great question. Thank you for asking. So, really, can you imagine going into a doctor's office and you're just going to get lab results or to have a checkup, and you find out that you have a bigger condition than you could have imagined? Your whole life flips upside down, and you experience a huge array of emotions. And my biggest advice is really to give yourself grace in those emotions. Allow yourself to feel them, because they're valid. You can be angry. Heck, I get angry when I have an unexpected situation happen. That's okay. Be angry. Be sad, be confused, have that discouragement, but don't build a house and live there. Experience that and then decide, what does this mean for me? Is my provider one that has hope with me in this diagnosis? Or are they kind of giving me the doomsday report where it's like, oh, hey, there's nothing I can do. Good luck. Because that makes a difference also. Surround yourself with people who are on team you. You want to build yourself up inside your head and in your life, but you want the people around you to also believe that it's possible for you to heal or to live a quality life with whatever diagnosis you're faced with. And so if you don't have a doctor that's on your team, that's okay. You can have gratitude for the doctor that was there while he was there, and then not see them ever again, and find a doctor that is on your team and is able to provide the support that you need at that time. So I love to tell people that. So many people stay with providers almost out of guilt because they've taken care of them for so long, or they don't want to hurt their feelings. They can be a very nice person, but not be the right person for you. And so just have the courage to find someone that fits your needs. And I love to journal. I just like to get curious a lot. You can think about it, meditate, sit in silence, and just ponder what you need on this journey, what your hopes are from it, and the best case scenario in it. Because we can all focus on the worst. The worst automatically pops into our head. It's like we're a magnet to all the bad stuff. So I just let it focus in, and then I brush it away, and I think, okay, what's the best case scenario? What could happen?
Yes, so true. And it's so true that, you brushed on it a bit earlier, that you've got to allow yourself to feel all the feels, even if they're, deep and sad and, hurting and depression and anger, as you said, and frustration. It's so important to kind of allow yourself to go through those emotions and then release them. And I love how you said build a house, that analogy. It's so important to feel the feels, but not to stay there, right? You've got to feel them and let them go, and then just find that power to go, all right, what's next? What can I do next? How can I climb out of this situation? I guess then, when you're going in and you are surrounded by all these doctors that you're not really vibing with, or there's more for you, but then they're kind of telling you otherwise. What's kind of the best way to stand up for yourself in a medical situation like that, and be your own personal advocate, I guess?
Yes. So I like to pick my battles, because at the end of the day, if the doctor is not supporting you and you're there and there's other doctors that you can go to, I would just be a kind person, because that's how I respond to things. And I would just say, okay, thank you for your opinion. That's it. If I know they're the only doctor on the planet and I have to stay with them, then that's where you get to stand up and advocate for yourself. And I would say, thank you so much for your opinion and your insight. I'm interested in this. Or is there an opportunity for me to do something else? Are there different healing modalities that I can use in conjunction with what you're recommending? And then see, because you want them to be on your team. We work together with our providers. And so when we have the ability to communicate with ease and still have that respect, but also voice our truth and our hopes, it's smoother for all of us, because we're not hiding that we're exercising or eating a bunch of kale over here from our doctor. We want to be able to tell them that. But if they're very shut down, it's a little bit more challenging to do that.
There's a lot of doctors that are kind of embracing the holistic side of healing. There's a lot more people that are kind of shifting into that space as well. And I guess that, maybe not so much the older doctors that are stuck in their old school ways, but more so the new ones that are kind of seeing that people are kind of, going outside the box and finding other ways to bring healing into their life. They would kind of have to start, accepting that and working with it and helping people kind of navigate that side of it as well, because they obviously don't want it to affect the healing. And I have nothing against hospitals and traditional medications and things like that, but they'd obviously want, you know, to bring that holistic health in a way that's not going to interfere with the traditional medicine, and but also help them support it and you know, encourage the healing on both sides. They wouldn't want to kind of have it affecting one or the other. So they definitely kind of, I guess if you've got a doctor with the right mindset, they definitely want to be working together with any kind of other healing modality that you'd want to do.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've got the medical diagnosis. We've gone through the emotions. What's kind of the best way to shift out of? I'm just in a personal way. If that happened to me and something happened, I'd be like, you know, I'd get stuck in the victim mentality, and I'd just feel like, depending on what it was, I guess shame or just fear of judgment, being seen differently. How are we moving through those kind of shifts and kind of releasing that on our journey and being able to move forward without kind of the fear of other people and the shame that comes along with some medical diagnosis?
Yes. So shame is a very common thing with medical diagnoses. We blame ourselves. We blame our environment, things that we did, karma, sometimes we can blame. And so really it's releasing it. And I like to release it by asking questions to it. That feeling of shame. What are you here to tell me? That I was a bad person or that I made a bad choice? And then I like to put it on the stand and question it. Well, is that true? Am I a bad person? No, I'm a good person. Did I make a bad choice? Yeah, I did. Did I learn from that bad choice? Yeah, I did. Am I going to do it again? No, I probably not. And I like to say, have a conversation with it, work through it, and then prove to it that you're not a bad person, that illness can happen to anybody, and that you are able to get through it because you're worthy. And cut yourself some slack. Just really learn to love yourself. I really like to do hypnotherapy with clients, especially if there is shame or a deep feeling of not being worthy or enough around a diagnosis. Then I will do hypnotherapy and see if there is a reason they have that belief, why it's connected, and how it's contributing to these symptoms that they're experiencing or this illness. Because when we can find out why we have that feeling, we can change the role that it's playing. So if shame is there to protect you from other people judging you, so shame, you beat yourself up. Because if you make yourself feel so bad, it won't hurt as bad when someone else makes you feel bad. But that's not really true, because shame makes you feel crappy. So it's like, great, I get to feel extra bad for longer. So what I would say is, hey, shame, I know you want to protect me. I'm very thankful for you for always having my back. You're making it really hard for me to enjoy life. Instead of protecting me by beating me up, can you protect me by building me up and by encouraging me and by telling me that I'm safe to share this diagnosis with people? I'm safe to ask someone for a ride to my doctor's visit. I'm safe to accept help when I need it, because I do, and I'm loved regardless of the needs that I have right now.
Yes, I love that. I love shifting, asking questions and shifting, right, this is the negative, how can I make it a positive? And I love how you touched on it just before, finding truth that the opposite is true. So if you've got like a limiting belief or a negative thought pattern that's happening over and over again, you're realizing you're stuck in it, finding the opposite of that and finding a time in your life when it was true and you know it's possible, and that's what you can grab. Because fear does, and that's where a lot of these other emotions come from. They come from fear, right? And fear is so crippling, and it just takes over your brain. Like it just squishes every other, you know, perception or normality, I guess, that you would normally think, and it just quashes it so tightly, and you just have this one narrow, like, beam of light coming in and nothing else will get in. So it's about, cracking that wall and letting the light in and shifting the perspective and realizing, no, that's not true, because I've actually been able to do this in the past, or that person's been able to do that. And I know that this isn't a truth anymore. And it's just like shattering that glass ceiling, I guess,
Yeah.
and just like shifting out, because it's so easy to get stuck on that one little fearful, negative, limiting belief that, you kind of, and you do get stuck on it, because it creeps in and you're like, shit, I'm stuck here and I can't get out, and everything just goes on that one little journey, and that's where people get stuck, really, with a limiting belief. And it's about,
Yes.
I love the idea of asking questions and finding out why, and then finding out why again, and breaking that pattern and finding, that the other is true, the opposite is true, and you have accomplished that thing before, but maybe you've forgotten about it because now you've been stuck in that fear pattern or that shame or that guilt. I love
Yes.
that.
Yeah, we forget so easily. I have so many clients, as they get older, they
Mm-hmm.
they experience more challenges in life. Maybe it's harder for them to open a jar or to remember something. And that's what they focus on. Oh, my brain's failing because I forgot my keys. You actually didn't forget your keys. You remembered them outside of your front door. So you didn't forget them.
Yeah.
You just remembered them later than you wanted to. And I'll ask, hey, did you get yourself dressed today? Yeah. Well, then you remembered how to get yourself dressed so you can do something right. You're not doing everything wrong. You put your clothes on, and you walk to the bathroom and you wash your hands. But we forget all of those accomplishments. We're not born knowing how to walk, knowing how to wash our hands or talk. Those are all skills that we learn, but it's easy to look past them when we're in the midst of a health crisis.
Yeah. Yes, so true. I love that. So what other kind of, we've touched on the hypnotherapy and we've touched on a little bit of journaling. What other kind of tools do you recommend, I guess, that you used on your own personal journey and you help others kind of navigate through or try? I guess it's more of an experimentation of what works for you in each situation, but what kind of tools do you recommend people bring into their life, I guess, if they haven't been doing it before, or use more when they're going through kind of any kind of medical situation that's kind of knocked them off their stool for a little bit?
Yes. So just like you said, we're all very unique. So one modality that works for someone might not work for someone else, and that's okay. And there's a modality that might have worked for you before but doesn't work for you again in a different situation. So it's being flexible and open to adjusting these different techniques based on your own needs. So I touched on journaling. I really love to journal. I like to create vision boards because
Okay.
you can create it and put it somewhere that you are normally. I have mine on my bathroom door because I use the bathroom multiple times a day. And so every time I walk into the bathroom, I see this board that reminds me that I love eating vegetables, that I love going outside and getting in the sun. I have pictures of myself laughing because joy and laughter are a big part of my desire in life. And so anything that you wish to achieve and accomplish, put on that board. If you want to travel somewhere, put a picture of that destination on your board. And I mean, for my son, we made his vision board with a picture of him standing up and it said, I am strong and healthy. And every day he was saturated in the belief that he is strong and healthy. And that eventually became what he truly believed and knows to be a fact. So vision boards are very fun. You can be very creative, cut out magazines, newspapers. You can rip pictures from online or even your own personal pictures and add them and change it anytime you want. So if there's something on the board that's not really working for you anymore, take it off or cover it up and put something else on it. Adjust it anytime you need. I love tapping. It's emotional freedom technique. It is a tapping system where you tap on different meridians of the body, and you basically, I like to say, neutralize the energy of whatever the focus is. So we mentioned shame. So if I'm feeling a lot of shame in my body, all I have to do is say, oh, I'm feeling so shameful right now. I'm so angry. Anything that comes into your mind, you can say, I'm so angry that I have this diagnosis. It's so irritating. I'm just so tired of feeling sick and not having the answers. I feel like no one's on my side. I'm all alone in this. I'm suffering all the time. This is horrible. The more you say it, you're voicing those truths. So they're coming out of your body. And as you're tapping on the meridians, it's like an electrical current going through your body and just helping to clear any of those blockages and stagnation in the body. There's tons of YouTube videos to learn how to do it. You can watch people do it and tap right alongside them. I have a few ebooks on tapping, and it's just something really easy that you can do anywhere, anytime to help yourself. You can even do it for happy things. So I love doing that. Breathing is another very important thing because so often when we have those diagnoses, we freeze and we forget to breathe. And so our breathing becomes more shallow. And when we're not breathing as much, our heart rate starts to pick up, which can cause our brain to be a little bit more foggy, causes us to have difficulty making the right decision or the best decision, and a whole slew of health challenges will come with it. And so just really noticing your breath and filling your lungs and slowly letting your breath out and then receiving it. Those are really easy things that you can do anytime, anywhere. I also love going outside and putting my feet in the grass or in the dirt and just grounding to earth. Because when we receive a challenging diagnosis or hard news, when life feels like it has dropped us on our head, when we put our feet on something solid, it's a physical reminder that we are supported, that something is there beneath us to help us hold ourselves up. And so that is something that I like to do to remind myself physically that I am supported, even if only by the earth right now.
I love that. And I love getting my feet in the grass. I love it. I love being outside. I love gardening as well. I used to have a big garden and I would be out there every second I got, even if it's just like pulling 2 weeds out. I love getting my hands dirty and just feeling that connection to the earth and helping things grow and, feeling that energetic connection as well. As I love how you put it, how feeling supported just by having something beneath you. I love that. It's so true. And the earth literally is supporting us. And we can use that energy, right, to refill our own cup of energy.
Yes,
I love
absolutely.
that. So in your bio, you talked about your book. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Yes. So actually today, my 5th book launched today. So I have, thank you. It's #1 bestseller right now, actually in Australia. So that's very exciting. It's a collective book that I took part in. It is 29 women sharing their powerful stories of turning pain into purpose. And it's just very raw and vulnerable with a lot of wisdom and beauty in it. My other books are on my website. You can find them, or Amazon, most places that sell books. And most of them, I talk about really limiting beliefs, medical diagnoses, and how to overcome them to really live the life that you want because you're worthy of living that life. And I believe we all are capable of having that. So those are my most exciting ones. I have another book coming August 11th, and then a big one in the fall that will come out, and that will be part memoir, part self-help, and it will really dive into limiting beliefs and just how sneaky they are, because so many of us don't know that we have them because they adapt with us to stay alive. And so my goal is to show readers how to uncover their own and to find them and to really decide if they're working for them or they're working against them, and then to change them.
I love that for you. You've been so busy.
Yes, it has been very full.
I love that. So what is Andrea's advice to anyone? I know we've touched on it all throughout this chat this morning. You walk into the doctors today, you hit with something hard. What's your advice? What's the first thing that you would tell someone to help them move forward through the situation?
Believe that you are capable of anything you want. It doesn't matter how it looks. You don't need to know all of the steps on achieving that goal. Just decide how you want to feel and believe that you're capable of feeling that way. And then move towards it.
Love that. Do you think that was your kind of lesson from your journey as well?
I do, because for so long I sat in sadness. because I didn't know how I wanted to feel. So I just kept seeing the struggle during my fertility treatments. I knew I wanted to be a mom, but I didn't know how it would feel for me to be a mom. I never focused on the feeling of holding my child or of kissing them or of seeing them grow. I focused on the sadness and the failure and the possibilities that were not available to me. And then with my son, I shifted from that exact feeling of despair to wait, how do I want to feel? I want to feel content and capable of providing for him. I want him to feel less pain, more joy, and peace. And knowing that that was how we wanted to feel, everything that we did around it was centered on those feelings. So if we were going to eat food, but that food was going to cause pain, it wouldn't get us to the goal of joy. And so it makes it easy to make that decision. Should I take the path that brings pain, or should I choose something that brings joy, knowing that's my long-term goal?
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I love that. Choosing to enjoy every moment. I think that also comes down to kind of, I'm going to use the word manifesting through kind of visualization with your vision boards and every kind of little tool that you were using is kind of visualizing in your mind kind of the place you want to be in, the life you want to be in, and kind of bringing that to fruition through action and through seeing, because I think it's so important to, you can't just think your way to a new reality, and you've got to obviously meet with the action halfway as well. But it's so important to be able to see and, as you said, feel, to bring every little detail of that visualization to life in your mind before you can kind of create it as a reality. And I love that.
Yeah, that was a big thing for me. And when I was focusing towards joy, because I'd come from such a traumatic childhood and then experienced so much more trauma as an adult, I didn't know what joy looked like. So when I thought I want joy is what my goal is, I didn't know what to put on my vision board, because words are one thing, but when you can see it and start to feel it, it changes the game. And so I started to get curious about what joy looked like. How do I know when someone's joyful? What does their face look like? What are they doing? And then I would take pictures of that and I would put that on my vision board. And as I started seeing those visions of joy play out in my own life, I would then put them on my board, because then they were from my life. It was a stronger affirmation that, hey, look, you are creating joy because you just had this similar feeling that you thought represented joy.
Yes, I love that. And that's such a good little nugget of wisdom for people that have struggle visualizing. Sometimes when I talk about visualizing, people are like, yeah, but I can't see it. And it's that, I love that about bringing in something that sparks the emotion that you want to feel and then shifting to the visualization that would come along with that. I love that. That's such a good way of framing it for people that can't just automatically kind of put themselves in the space inside their imagination, I guess, of where they want to be, and they struggle with that.
Yeah.
And it's more so about connecting to the feeling they want to feel in the future moment, but then kind of bringing in things that they can see to make them feel like that. And then, as you said, once you start doing that yourself, you can bring in photos of yourself doing that. I love that.
Yes, thank you.
Good little nugget of wisdom there. So if I was to ask you, this is my favorite question to ask, what is Andrea's message for the world? What's your legacy that you want to leave behind? What is your big, your big promo message? Who is Andrea, and what's your message?
My message is that you are so loved, you are worthy, and you are completely capable of creating a life you love, because no past is too messy, future too uncertain to create a present that you love today.
Very simple yet so profound. I love that. And I love your gentle nature. You're obviously in the best role for yourself there in the healing world. Your energy is very soft, and you just throw like such a supportive energy, and I love that. So thank you for being with us today, and thank you for sharing your story. As I said, it is hard to share your story, no matter if you've shared it 1,000 times before. So thank you, and I love that you have this perception, the same that I do, that if you could just help one person move, then you're changing the world just by helping that one person, and your life is made, because I have that same outlook. And it comes down to yes, it's embarrassing sometimes. We've got that shame, we've got that hurt, the grief, the jealousy, all these things that come along with, hard things, not only medical diagnosis, but other sorts of trauma. And it's so important to help other people move through something that you've experienced. And it does come down to the fact that, when you go through these hard times, you're like, shit, I wish I had someone that could have helped me in that same time. And then it's so beautiful to then want to help another person. And I love bringing empowering women into my space. So thank you so much being with us and sharing your message today.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be here with you and just for this time.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, dear souls, for joining me on this sacred journey. If you enjoyed this soul-nourishing experience, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you can stay connected and never miss a moment of our soulful exploration. Let's keep this transformative conversation going in the comments below. Share your insights, your dreams, and the magical moments you encounter. This is a community of like-minded souls, and your voice matters. If you're feeling called to dive even deeper into the realms of intuition and soulful living, remember that I'm here for you. Reach out to me through the links in the description. Let's embark on a personalized adventure to help you create the life of your dreams. This is Vanessa signing off from the Sacred Soul Shift series. Stay enchanted and keep shining bright.